We have a modern habit of casting ourselves as the star of our own cinematic drama. We curate our lives to look like movies, sometimes swapping our actual reality for a more exciting, fabricated narrative. We call it main character syndrome. But craving fiction over reality is a centuries-old habit. This 18th century roadmap points straight to the epicenter of high society matchmaking, the city of Bath. In 1775, this was the primary geographic destination for anyone looking to perform a more glamorous version of themselves. People didn't travel to Bath to be themselves, they went there to be seen. Social class, wealth, and identity were actively staged for the benefit of an audience of peers, rather than lived authentically. Among these performers is our protagonist, Lydia Languish. Lydia is entirely intoxicated by fiction, having consumed a dangerous amount of romantic paperback novels. Her reading habits have given her some highly specific, deeply absurd life goals. She actively rejects the idea of a stable, wealthy marriage. Instead, she craves the thrill of manufactured hardship. She wants to experience a scandalous elopement and dramatic poverty, purely because that is how love looks in her books. Enter Captain Jack Absolute. Clever and adaptable, Jack realizes he can never win Lydia's heart using his actual wealthy identity, so he leans into her delusion. He disguises himself as a struggling, penniless soldier named Ensign Beverly to give her exactly the melodrama she wants. Jack and Lydia are now performing for an audience of two, building a romance on a foundation of pure fiction. As they step onto this stage, they've left themselves no path back to the truth that doesn't involve a total collapse of the scenery. Every character in Bath operates behind a curated mask. In this social ecosystem, deliberate disguises are the only way to navigate the hierarchy of the city. Looking at this vintage playbill from 1798, we find the name of the play's most iconic supporting character, Mrs. Malaprop. She is a woman who desperately wants to project an aura of high intellect and aristocratic sophistication. Her specific method of deception is vocabulary. She aggressively uses complex, multi-syllable words to assert dominance, but she consistently chooses words that sound similar, yet are entirely incorrect. What makes it truly funny is her absolute lack of self-awareness. She delivers these absurd sentences with total, unearned confidence, making her intellectual failures hilariously obvious to everyone in the room except herself. Her linguistic blunders were so memorable that she birthed a real-world dictionary term. A malapropism is the mistaken use of a word in place of a similar-sounding one, often with an unintentionally amusing effect. Through her, the play reveals a sharp insight. Trying to weaponize language to prove your superiority usually does the exact opposite. It ends up broadcasting your deepest insecurities. The men of Bath are equally trapped in their own performances. Take Bob Acres, a character who violently projects a loud illusion of bravery, specifically to mask his deep, trembling cowardice. Then there is his foil, Sir Lucius O'Trigger. Lucius has tied his entire identity to the strict, performative rules of masculine reputation. He treats honor like a script he has no choice but to read from. The plot accelerates through written words. In a world of deep secrets, letters become the most volatile currency to maintain or destroy their reputations. But the messages keep getting intercepted, misread, and delivered to the wrong people. As the communication breaks down, the carefully constructed lies tangle together. This failure leaves the men with only one socially acceptable way to settle their perceived grievances. They agree to meet at the local duel ground. The duel ground becomes a corner where fake pride and toxic posturing are finally confronted by the cold reality of lead and gunpowder. At the duel ground, the threat of actual death arrives like an impatient guest. It leaves no room for performance, forcing the truth completely out into the open. The unmasking happens rapidly. Jack's wealthy reality is exposed to Lydia, and Bob's cowardly nature is brought to light. Faced with real consequences, the dramatic stakes instantly evaporate into comedy. This resolution highlights how Richard Brinsley Sheridan departed from the theater of his time. He stepped into a tradition of cruel satire and chose to introduce a different kind of wit. Many stage satires of his era were dark, leaning into cruel punishments for foolish characters. Sheridan chose a different path. He refuses to punish his cast, allowing the truth to emerge through laughter, warmth, and forgiveness. This warmth allows for genuine growth. Lydia finally realizes that real, enduring love does not need to be a tragic, painful struggle to be meaningful. A stable reality is actually far better than a perfectly scripted fiction. The Rivals operates as a smiling mirror held up to society. It proves that while we all desperately perform and pretend to be someone we're not, true human connection is only possible the moment we finally drop the act.